Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it's time for me to bring you, I think, episode number 16 of Season 2 of our Leicester City career mode here on FIFA 16. Now today we've got two games for you guys, the second leg of the Capital One Cup semi-final against Everton, as well as a Barclays Premier League game against Fulham, but obviously we are in a transfer window, and today signals transfer deadline day. So the final episode of the January transfer window is upon us, and last episode we sold Jairo Riedewald, Borussia Mönchengladbach matched our counter offer, so we have to replace him this time. So my plan of action for this, as I asked you guys last time, we're going to be getting a holding midfielder who can also play as a centre-back. We're going to buy them immediately, but we're also going to try and buy a more senior centre-back on a pre-contract agreement, so that when we sell a certain player, we're going to try and sell someone in the next transfer window. No one who plays too regularly, but you know, we've got. So basically, what we're going to do, we've sold Riedewald, who's a centre-back, and in the next transfer window, we're going to sell a central midfielder. So now, we're buying a central midfielder, and we're getting a centre-back on a pre-contract agreement. So hopefully that's a little bit less confusing for you guys to understand, because I realise I haven't explained that very well. The two players we're looking at in terms of pre-contract agreements are Antonio Rudiger and Robin Knoche from Wolfsburg. And we're obviously going to try and sign a holding midfielder, and we'll see how that works later on in this episode. But first of all, before we get into any of those shenanigans and I explain myself properly, it is time to get into the first game of today's episode in the Capital One Cup semi-final, second leg against Everton. Obviously, we won the first leg 3-0, which means we can take liberty slightly with the team we put out. Klosterman starts, Gudinho in goal, Liam Moore into the side, Francois Camano down the left-hand side as well, and he would produce the first chance of the game, but forcing a good one-handed save from Tim Howard, tipping the ball over the bar. That was on the screen. Luka Zahovic, someone else who was starting in this game. But Everton got their first chance of the game at the 26th minute. Ross Barkley forcing a good save from Gudinho, who actually tips the ball onto the post, and Jeffrey Schlupp, the left-back for today's game, clears the ball out. From the resulting corner, Deulofeu is going to put the ball into the box, hopefully for Everton. It's punched only slightly by Gudinho. He hasn't done a very good job of actually punching that ball clear. So it's going to come back for another corner. Deulofeu will swing it in. It's not really dealt with. It's fallen to Jagielka. Schlupp tries to clear but can't. And Phil Jagielka has put it in to score his third goal against us in this series. Phil Jagielka is he just loves scoring against us for some reason. In the grand scheme of the tie, it doesn't mean too much, though. We need to just make sure that we're not conceding two more goals. Obviously, Jeffrey Schlupp trying to score for us there, but anyone else in that situation, it might have been a goal. Unfortunately, the Ghanaian left-back, or German left-back, I can't remember, I think he's Ghanaian left-back, unfortunately puts the ball wide. Into the second half, Riyad Mahrez cutting inside and dribbling there with his fantastic ability, and actually winning a penalty. Leighton Baines bringing him down after the challenge, and if we can score this puts the tie beyond any doubt whatsoever. With only 25 minutes of the second leg left, Everton would have to score, I think, 3 goals in normal time, and then have to score another away goal in extra time in order to win this tie. So Riyad Mahrez will step up after winning the penalty and will convert to pretty much put this tie beyond any sort of doubt. We now lead on aggregate 4-1, and we should have now assured our place in the Capital One Cup final at Wembley, and indeed we have with that draw at Goodison Park against Everton. Raul Gudinho with man of the match after some very important saves throughout the game, getting an 8.5 rating. Good ratings as well for Drinkwater, Kante and Mahrez, but overall it wasn't a fantastic performance from myself, really controlling these players. I didn't feel as if I'd performed to my maximum ability, in all honesty, but we get the job done, and it's a fairly unimpressive draw, but a draw nonetheless that puts us through now to the final against Arsenal. Now, as you can see in the background, we actually offered pre-contract deals for Antonio Rudiger and Robin Knoche from Wolfsburg, and unfortunately the Wolfsburg centre-back decided to decline the offer, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to sign Antonio Rudiger from Stuttgart on a pre-contract agreement, which means we don't sign him at all. Well, we don't sign him for anything at all, so we don't have to pay anything. But he only arrives in July. So we get him for free, but he doesn't actually arrive instantly, and we'll be getting him as basically he'll be the Riedewald. He will be the Riedewald of the squad, and then whichever holding midfielder we buy will have a similar role to the likes of Gökhan Inler or Danny Drinkwater. Don't worry, I'm not going to sell Drinkwater. I know how much Leicester fans love him, but he'll be that type of player, whereas Rudiger will now sort of slot in to that Riedewald spot when he arrives. and obviously whichever holding midfielder we buy can cover at centre-half in case we need them. Now, nevertheless, we're now getting into the second game of today's episode, having made a signing, it was a bit underwhelming, my reaction. We have actually made a second signing of January, and we've bought Antonio Rudiger from Stuttgart. And there you can see the squad in the background. They're a fairly standard squad, to be honest with you, when it comes to Barclays Premier League games. But Fulham would actually get the first chance of the game just 3 minutes in, Mitroglou actually forcing a good save from Schmeichel. Now, I don't know if any of you actually remember the reverse fixture for this game in the Barclays Premier League. It actually ended 3-3. Fulham really tested us in that game, and it wasn't, if it wasn't for a Maxi Arnold thunderbolt volley right at the end of the game, we would have actually lost. And Fulham were testing us here again. The West London side really dominating the early exchanges. It would take us until the second half to really get on the ball properly. Embolo taking the ball off the Fulham defender, finding Kante, lovely first time through ball to Patrick Herrmann. And what a team goal that is. Embolo stealing the ball off the Fulham defender. He finds Kante, and it is a lovely weighted first time through ball to Patrick Herrmann, who hits it first time as well, and straight past the Fulham goalkeeper Stecklenburg at his near post, and we take a fairly undeserved 1-0 lead. It has to be said, Fulham coming back at us though, Masuaku though heading clear the Fulham free kick, and it's fallen to Sisto, who now sees Jamie Vardy bursting through the centre of the pitch, one-on-one now with the goalkeeper, breaking away from the Fulham defence, and he slots past Stecklenburg to make it 2-0 just 7 minutes after we took the lead. And now Herrmann and Vardy score in quick reply. But as you can see, Fulham now scoring in quick reply. And it is a lovely team goal finished off by Tom KRNE. And Fulham now restricting us to a 2-1 lead. The deficit has been halved. The Fulham attacker baiting out Kasper Schmeichel, and then KRNE slotting in to an empty net. We're going forward though again. Arnold finding Jamie Vardy, and what a turn that was in the area. Unfortunately, the strike is straight at Martin Stecklenburg. Tarajai though now off the bench. He finds Kante, who finds Jamie Vardy in acres of space. He cuts past the Fulham defender, but then blasts the ball wide of the post, which could be a key part in the game. It has to be said, Fulham have won the ball back here towards the end of the game, but Arnold tactically brings down Wellington Nem to stop any sort of counter-attack, and the referee has given him a red card for that. The referee's given him a red card for that. It's astonishing, a terrible decision from the referee. It's from behind, but for crying out loud, he's running with the attacker. He's not steamed in from behind. They're both running in the same direction, and the referee rather strangely has sent off Arnold, which has sort of tainted our good win there against Fulham. Kasper Schmeichel getting man of the match, but a really questionable decision there from the referee to send off Maxi Arnold, who will of course now be suspended for the next Barclays Premier League game. So really weird decision there. Nevertheless, it is now time for deadline day after that win against Fulham, and you guys pretty overwhelmingly decided you wanted me to sign Daniel Amati. There were a few shouts for Neves, Julian Weigl, were some shouts in there, but as far as I'm aware, neither of them can play as centre-backs, which is sort of what I needed. So Daniel Amati is the guy we'll be looking at, and plus he got far more comments in the comments section than any of the other players that were suggested. So we're offering £7.5 million plus Richie Delat for Daniel Amati, because Richie Delat wants to leave, and Borussia Dortmund actually duly accept that. They duly accept that offer, 7.5 plus Delat. And it looks as if we'll be signing Daniel Amati here on deadline day. Just going to put in a contract offer then for the Ghanaian central midfielder. 50k a week, 4-year contract length, and no squad roles specified. With just 8 hours though left of deadline day, Daniel Amati has actually declined our contract offer because he doesn't want to relocate, ideally, which means he wants a lot more money than we're offering him at the moment. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to offer him some more money. We're going to go with 65k per week, the standard 4-year contract length. No squad role, but a bonus per goal of 10%. I'd be very surprised if he scores that many goals, to be honest with you. And in the end, he actually decides to accept that contract offer. So we will be signing Daniel Amati and making our third signing of the January transfer window, which is not what I was expecting at all going into it. I was expecting to only have to make one signing, and that was Lucas Klosterman. But in the end, we've signed Klosterman, we've signed Rudiger on a pre-contract agreement, and we've now got Daniel Amati for £7.5 million. So, spending less than 10 million, which is nice, Klosterman for 1.8, Rudiger for free, and Daniel Amati for £7.5 million. Seems like pretty decent business. There you can see his attributes in the background. He's 77 overall and 22 years of age. Some very good attributes there though. 87 shot power, 90 aggression, 92 strength, good sprint speed, stamina reactions, and jumping as well. So you guys really wanted to see him join as he signed for Leicester in real life, but looking at players who left the squad on transfer deadline day, we sold Ryan Watson there for something amount. I think it was about 200k. We loaned out Jack Barmby to Bolton. We also sold Brandon Fox for 250k to Doncaster. And we also loaned out the young youth academy graduate Eric Makianok for 1 year to Stevenage. So nothing major, no real major players sold, although Richie Delat, of course, obviously has left the club now because he was involved in that deal for Daniel Amati. But seeing as he wanted to leave, I thought I might as well involve him in that deal, take a little bit of a price tag off the Amati deal. In the background, though, from training in the aftermath now of deadline day with the transfer window now officially being closed, you can see Kasper Schmeichel has gone up to a 76 overall through training, which is quite nice to see despite his age. A slight downer though towards the end of this episode is we've got a training injury. With deadline day now being over, we now move into a new month, which does provide the risk of a training injury, and unfortunately our left back Fukurata Mazuaku will be out for 6 weeks with an injury. I didn't quite see what the injury was, but he's out for quite some time, and then unfortunately rules him out of the Capital One Cup final against Barclays Premier League leaders Arsenal. There you can see the rest of the table in the background as well. United and Spurs rounding out the top 4. Good season so far for West Ham and for Bournemouth, with Watford doing alright in 10th as well. But down towards the bottom of the table, Hull, Sunderland and Burnley currently occupying the relegation zone, though it does seem pretty close down towards the bottom, really 14th downwards, all involved in a bit of a relegation scrap. Nevertheless, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Leicester City Career Mode. Feel free to hit the likes button if you did enjoy, and subscribe if you are new around here as well. Hope you guys were happy with my signings. You guys really seemed intent on me signing Daniel Amati, so I'm not too fussed about that one. But if you have any opinion on the Antonio Rudiger signing, feel free to drop that in the comments section as well. Obviously, my plan was to replace Riedewald with Rudiger for, with the pre-contract agreement signing, and then to buy Daniel Amati as well, because he can sort of plug in some gaps, and we're looking to sell one of our central midfielders. It'll probably be Gökhan Inler in the next transfer window, so he'll just slot in, immediately replace Riedewald for now, but then when Rudiger joins the team, he'll sort of transform into an Inler replacement. I hope that makes some sort of sense, but I hope you guys also enjoyed the transfer activity in this transfer window as well, a lot more than I was expecting. Nevertheless, it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys though today. Have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.